How are your sales doing right now? Because secretly, or maybe not so secretly, a lot of sales professionals who sell services, well, they're getting worried about their performance. They're worried that their sales are slowing down. Now, don't get me wrong, we're in the middle of a global pandemic. Of course, you can't miss it, right? But there might be some other reasons that your sales are slowing down as well. So in this video, I'm going to show you why a sales slump might not be the end of the world, and what to do if your sales have slowed down over the past few months. Hi, I'm Will Barron, founder of salesman.org, where we help salespeople who sell services crush their sales quotas. Now, of course, there's nothing like a once-in-a-lifetime global pandemic to slow down your sales results, but there might be some other things that are slowing them down as well. And the first thing to do when you're suffering from a sales slowdown is to diagnose what the actual real problem is. And there are three main variables that you've got to consider when you're working out what's causing your sales slowdown. So the first thing to look at is the level of inbound interest for your service, because your service might be seasonal, which means if you're selling accounting, services or software, it probably goes up in the UK around April time. Then you might have a bit of a slump during other periods of the year where accounts are not the biggest thing that business owners or your customers are focusing on. If the level of inbound interest for your service, well, if that hasn't changed, the next thing you need to look at is your sales pipeline. Because if there's interest in the market over here, you need to suss out whether you're able to accurately capture it and put it into your pipeline on this side of the equation. Because if you're unable to capture the attention in the market and the inbound interest in your service, then your pipeline is going to suck, and that's what we need to focus on. And finally, if your inbound interest is fine, if there's interest for your service, if your pipeline is able to accurately capture the interest, but you're still not getting deals done and you're suffering from a sales slowdown, then it's got to be the closing percentage that you got to focus on. And there's multiple issues that can happen within the closing side of your sales process, and we're going to touch on a few of them in a minute. So before you start blaming the pandemic for all of your sales slowdowns right here in this moment in time, make sure you've been through these 1, 2, 3 areas where sales slowdowns often occur, and you can diagnose what the actual problem really is. Because there are lots of things that can affect the level of inbound interest for your service, your sales pipeline, and your closing percentage. Here are a few basic examples. There could be disruptive innovations from your competition. Your service could have been commoditized, and there's cheaper versions being brought to market. There's of course regular economic upturns and downturns. We're in this global pandemic downturn right now, but we were due an economic downturn regardless. There might have been legal changes within your marketplace. This is a huge one because lots of governments are pushing through lots of new legislation right now because of the pandemic. And here's one that people very rarely consider: any changes in customer-facing members of your team. So if you had one senior sales rep or a director or VP of sales who used to pass loads of sales leads down to you and they've left, they've gone to another company, well, of course, that's where the real problem is. It's not the pandemic. So your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to work out where your problems really lie. To wrap up this video, I'm going to give you 6 ways to counteract a sales slowdown when you know where the problem is and you're trying to eliminate it. So first off, we've got, of course, lead gen, the most important part of the sales process. Because no matter what the issue is within your sales cycle, 9 times out of 10, rightly or wrongly, more lead gen or better lead gen will solve the issue for you, at least in the short term anyway. So ask yourself, are you doing less lead generation now than perhaps you were doing 12 months ago? And I know personally that when the pandemic first hit, I scrambled around for a month or 2 at the beginning of the year. I didn't reach as many sales leaders as what I usually do to sell our product over at salesman.org to their sales teams. And this lack of activity hit our sales numbers and our pipelines for months and months and months to come after that initial panic button was hit. So if your sales are in a real slump right now and they've slowed down, the first thing to do is to double check your lead generation and to make sure that you're doing it. Next up, if your sales are ground to a complete and utter halt, then you need to take a few days away from the office, away from the desk that you're rocked up in, your kitchen as you're working from home, wherever you're working from. Take a couple of days and really have a good think about a sales plan for the future. Because if the things you're doing right now are not working, you need to work out what you need to do moving forward. Otherwise, you're just a crazy person going in the same loop over and over and over, doing things that aren't working, and that's not going to help anyone. To create a very quick and dirty sales plan that is incredibly effective, just grab a pen and paper and run through these questions. You're going to ask yourself what is and what isn't working right now. And this next one is my favorite question to ask. What is the one thing that I could change in my sales process that would have the biggest impact on all of the other steps? Getting this question answered, you should be doing this once every quarter, if not once every year. It's going to have a dramatic effect on your sales performance. The next question is a bit of future planning. What deals could I work on this month that would lead me to having the best next quarter ever? So we're not faffing around here. We want the best next quarter of all time. And finally, even if you're not in management, you should be asking yourself this question. If I could add anyone to our team, who would it be and what would they do? Maybe you need a trainee under your wing to do a bit of the admin work that's bogging you down. Perhaps you need one of the marketers from your company to come and work with you personally just for a few weeks or maybe even a month so that you can develop a strong personal brand online so your buyers know, like, and trust you before you even pick up the phone to them. So step 2 is to use these questions right here and develop a quick forward-facing sales plan. Step 3, and this is something that I am guilty of over and over, even when I cover it in videos like this is something that I really suck at. You need to recharge your batteries. You need to get these things recharged. Because maybe you feel like you're in a sales slump right now. Maybe you're not feeling energized, you're not feeling motivated, you're not feeling excited about your product and the market that you're selling within. And let me share this with you. Your own emotions might be sabotaging your own sales effectiveness. Because in everybody's brains, we have these things called mirror neurons. Incredible diagram right there, right? These mirror neurons do exactly what they say on the tin. And when you look at someone who is stressed, emotional, is not feeling positive, well, your own mirror neurons copy the emotions that you see in other people. This is where empathy comes from. So say like you call a customer and you're nervous and you don't think you're going to hit your sales target this month. Well, your potential customer is going to sense that you're stressed and they're going to start feeling it as well. And now you've just got two people who are massively stressed on the phone with each other. And of course, nobody does a deal when they are not feeling positive and energetic. You're going to feel stressed, they're going to feel stressed, and everything is going to fall apart. So if you're in a sales slump, make sure that you're taking a little bit of time off to recharge your own batteries and to recover so that you are energetic, happy, and positive when you're engaging with your potential customers. Step 4, if your sales are slowing down, is to do a competitor analysis. Because could it be that one of your competitors has overtaking you in the marketplace? And I know personally, during this pandemic, a whole bunch of my competitors in the sales training market, they've gone bust, they've just shut up shop, which is really unfortunate. I don't wish that on anyone. But when I go on their website and I look at the services and what they were offering, well, they're all 10 years behind us and our training. Their website, branding, product, service, delivery, it's dated, it's boring. And so it clearly hasn't been developed in years. So here is salesman.org crushing it, and this is a lot of our competition that have gone bust over the past few months. So to put together this competitive analysis, ask how has your competitors' revenue changed over the past few years? Are they skyrocketing up or are they just surviving at the moment? Here's a really good question to ask, something that I ask about our competitors. If everything was the same price and it came with the same level of service, would your prospects buy from you because they know, like, and trust you as an individual, as a differentiator in yourself, or would they buy from the competition? And finally, why would a buyer choose to work with your competition over you? If you answer this question in enough detail, you're going to get a series of bullet points that's going to give you some ways to improve your own service and the way that you sell. So do a little bit of soul searching with these questions and you're going to find a few ways to reignite your sales success. Step number 5 is personal development, because if you're in a sales slump, it could just be that you watching this video right now, maybe you're in a bit of a slump yourself. So let me ask you this. When was the last time you did anything to really improve your sales skills, your communication skills, your influence skills? And I don't mean watching a 10-minute YouTube video like this. I mean, when was the last time you really sat down, put 2 or 3 hours into your diary to do some deep work on your sales skills, your confidence, your charisma, your ability to communicate with others, any of these skills? When was the last time you really sat down and worked on these things? So the first thing to do if you're selling a service is, of course, to head over to salesman.org and get signed up today. But even setting aside 10, 15 minutes each morning just to read a few pages of a good business or personal development book will do you a ton of favors. and can often pull you right out of a sales slump. If you really want to go kick in the ass, my favorite personal development book is Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. It's super cheap, it's quite thick and heavy, but that book genuinely changed my life. And make sure to click subscribe because I've got an epic video coming up where I outline all of the training videos, online courses, books, workshops, everything that I found incredibly useful to improve my own selling skills. Now, the final step to turbocharge your sales, if you have found that they've slowed down, is to do some buyer interviews. Buyer interviews, it sounds complicated. It sounds like it's going to be a real pain, but it isn't. All you've got to do is reach out to a few buyers who've bought from you recently and ask them the following questions. Ask them, why did you buy from us? How did you hear about our service? Who else did you consider? How could we have sped up the sales process? That's an incredibly important question in a time like this when we need more deals closing quicker than ever before. And another great question, what did you need to know before buying that was difficult to learn? All you've got to do here with the responses to this particular final question to massively speed up your sales process is to give your buyers everything that they wanted before they bought that they couldn't grab hold of very easily. This could be pricing, it could be the outlines of the service that you offer, it could be the value that you add as a differentiator as a salesperson yourself. These 5 questions make up a very quick and seamless 10-minute buyer interview that you can carry out with the people who've bought from you recently. And you're going to get incredible insights from this process. So there we have it, all of the things that can lead to your sales slowing down and 6 ways to speed them back up. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to click that thumbs up button and continue your sales education by watching one of the videos that are on the screen right now.